Hey, welcome to the very first episode of Deep South Garage. On Deep South Garage, we're going to cover a lot of different things on a very small channel. We're going to do everything from classic cars, tractors, trucks, modern stuff like what I have here in the background. This 2014 Chevrolet 1500 Z71, which we're about to do a tune-up on. We're going to do engine builds. We're going to do body work, painting, just about anything you can imagine we're going to try to cover. Now, whether we make a good channel, I don't know, but we're going to try. So I tell you what, you guys stay with me and let's get this thing done. All right, what we're going to start with is we're going to get all these plugs out, remove all the plug wires. We're not going to change the plug wires. The plug wires have recently been changed fairly, very relatively. So we're going to try to get the plugs out, get them started. What we're going to do, and I know a lot of you guys you probably know how to do all this. There's probably some that don't, that may find this interesting, and that's great. I went ahead and laid most of my tools out. What you're going to need a 3/8 ratchet, probably a 3-inch extension and a 1-inch extension, and a swivel doesn't hurt, 5/8 plug socket, a bottle of anise, and of course, your brand new plugs. All right, let's get started right here. All right, on the Chevrolet, your number one plug is going to start on the right side of or on the driver's side of your engine. So we're going to start, not because it matters, this is just where I like to start. We start with number one. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this plug out and I'm going to inspect it. I'm going to see how the engine's performing, whether it's, getting the right amount of fuel and all, just the normal basic things. You'll need this here spark plug puller outer and put her back in her, which is Matco. Not telling anybody to go buy this, but it does help. Or you can do it the old school way, the way I've done it for most of my life. Just put you an old plug boot on a extension or something like that, just something to grab a hold of that plug so you can spin it out without getting your fingers down into the hole. Now you guys can do these one at a time, and I dropped my plug. It's down there somewhere. So much for the inspection on the very first plug. Let's move on. All right, so I got the first plug out, and it's down in there somewhere. I'll get off camera. I'm not going to make you guys suffer through all that. All right, sometimes these plug boots can be fairly irritating to get off here. So you may have to twist and turn a little, but they'll come off. All right, got that one. Sometimes they like to fight you a little bit, even if they're new. I have before had new plug wires, and on the next time I have to remove a plug, I pull the end right off of it, and there I have to go either repair the end or just go get another set of plug wires. They do make plug wire stock material that you can get, and you can build your own plug wires. It's relatively simple to do. Right. Let's see if we can get this one out without dropping. Here we go. All right, so we got the second one out. And I'm gonna bring this a little closer where you guys can see that plug is plug doesn't look too awful bad for the length of time that it's been in there. I can smell a little bit of fuel on the plug, so it's definitely not been firing quite the way it should. We're gonna go ahead and put the first two back in before we take the other on this side out. Look, I've got this anti-seize, and what I like to do is just a small dab of anti-seize on the threads, just to keep it from all the heat that comes through this engine, keep this plug from seizing up and giving you a lot of problems to get it out later. But just a small dab, you know, the old saying that your granddad said, a little dab of doer, that's what you need to be thinking of. Does not take a lot, very little. You know, you just dab it on, wipe it around the threads. If you put too much on it, it will, if you put too much, it will, as the engine heats up, it'll melt down on your plug there, and it can cause a misfire. But guys, that's really if you put too much. I've literally never had one do that. But I've always stuck by that, just a little dab on it. And when I get to one plug, I'll show you exactly how much I put, if you can see me well enough. And just so y'all know, I'm putting in the AC Delco Iridium spark plugs. And I can put my glasses on and give you that part number. That is a 194595511 or a 41-168. For any of you that may need to know that part number. A lot of people like to use a lot of different plugs, and that's okay. I just prefer to stay with the AC Delcos on this truck. But it's kind of your preference. Everybody likes different things. That's what makes us all so unique. Guys, I'm just kind of getting into this YouTube world of videos, and I've spent a lot of time watching videos and things. I revert to YouTube on a lot of things that maybe a fella just don't know how to do properly. So I'll revert to some of you guys, some of the videos that y'all post on things that maybe I don't know. And I'm telling you, a lot of times it's a big help, especially for some of this younger generation. Maybe guys that, you know, their dads maybe didn't do a lot of this type of stuff. It kind of helps them and teach them how to do it when they're not exactly sure, they're worried about making a mistake. It really helps. It can be a lifesaver. You got a little close quarters one over here. You know, your back plugs on your Chevrolets are always going to be a little bit harder to get out because you got your steering rod and steering shaft and all that right here in the way. It doesn't make it too terribly difficult, but it does create a little bit of a challenge. there's another plug out. We'll go ahead and slap that new one in. What, fella? Fella really has to cram himself down in some of these spaces on some of these new vehicles. Very tight quarters in all these nowadays. That's why I do prefer some of the older stuff. You have a lot more room to work on. And I'll be darned. Doesn't want to get in there. Just start. Come on. I'm gonna make sure you start. Or I'm gonna drop and break you one. Oh, I got you then. Oh, I got you then. You just thought you were gonna whip me. Pretty humid out here today. I'm here in South Alabama, and Temecula County, and we always seem to keep pretty humid weather here. Always seems to be extremely hot most of the time, and you got an old tin building like I do. It's like working in a furnace. And sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot of heat to really make you feel like it's twice as hot as what it probably is. That one was a little bit of a booger. It definitely didn't want to go back in real well. With the steering shaft in the way. Fellow with pretty decent sized hands will struggle on something like this. On the last one on this side now. I can wiggle my old paws down in here. There, got her off there. I'm gonna lay that one right there completely out of my way. All right. you guys are wondering why I'm stretching so far, fella has a little trouble reaching way back in there. I'm gonna raise this up a little more to make me a little taller. I may time lapse some of this after the first one. I may let some of this time lapse and then move on to the next side. So you guys aren't wondering, hey, we're kind of sick of watching you sit here and struggle with one or two particular plugs. It's hard to reach. Try to save some of the boring stuff. I'll be. Come on, man. I know you're thinking you're gonna beat me. I got you. I also noticed I've got a little drip. It looks like it's coming from my water pump down there. It's probably something I need to address, but of course that'll be a later video. We'll do the water pump on maybe be a video throughout the week. It's really not a bad job to put the water pump on these 5.3s, but I don't have. It's not a bad leak. It's a leak that I just need to keep an eye on, but I don't have the time today. I've actually got a fella that's bringing a friend of mine, relative, honestly, has made me a little makeshift paint booth, something that I can take down and put up. Fairly simple, you know, for some of my painting projects. And he's coming over. We're gonna set that up. So when I do need it, I can use it. Some of the larger paint jobs that I may do, I'll need something like that. Now the little small stuff, you know, you probably need to paint that in some kind of a paint booth too, but you can get away with it. Some of these tractors and stuff that I'll paint, if I get a little bit of I get a little overspray or something, those are a little orange peel, I can kind of wet sand that out. So it's not really that big of an issue. But when I'm getting ready to paint my 49 Chevrolet there, I tell you, I really don't want to have to worry about lots of orange peel to have to. But like I said, all those will be videos down the road and see how this channel kind of takes off. And I know I'm not the best at all the video and the video editing, but I'm gonna work to get better. If you guys will just hang in with me, and maybe I'll get some better equipment to shoot the videos with. All right, so we've got the bank one side complete. And for some of you guys that may not understand some of this bank one, bank two, upstream, downstream type stuff, what it is your bank one side is always going to be the side of your number one spark plug, your number one cylinder. When it says upstream sensor, O2 sensor, that's going to be your sensors. If it just says bank one, sensor one, that's for your O2 sensors, that's going to be the one before the catalytic converter. Sensor two will be the one either in or behind the catalytic converter, or it may be just there around that area somewhere. We'll get into some more of that later down the road. I'll kind of teach you guys how to go through and diagnose a cylinder miss or a multi-cylinder miss, find out whether you've got a wiring issue or if you've got just a bad plug or a bad coil. There's a couple of different ways that you can do them. Some are a little more are easier, some are harder, but we'll get into all that in later episodes. These newer engines are really, everybody feels like they're real complicated, and to a point, they are kind of complicated. But there's so much out there now with scanners and diagnostic tools that really helps you diagnose a vehicle a lot easier than it used to be. Used to, you really had to read your plugs and all that kind of stuff to know if you're getting too much fuel on the plug, not enough air on the plug, you know, the running lean type stuff. But nowadays, they can dial these computers in where, you know, and then on top of that, you know, you've got your snap-on scanners, and there's tons of scanners on the market. They've got stuff now that you can Bluetooth to your phone and check this stuff out. It's astronomical the amount of stuff that they have for you to do your own diagnostic repairs. Now, there's a lot of things that the dealer just won't allow you to access, and there's a lot of things information that they don't want to give out. So there's obviously things that you can't do that you just have to take it somewhere and have it done. That's even with me. I worked for Chevrolet for a long time. I worked for some independent shops for a long time. Now I'm in heavy equipment. I don't particularly do the gas engines as a full-time job anymore. But even with the experience I have, I still, at times, I can't, the snap-on equipment that I have, I don't have the updates and the things to do that will allow me to really communicate with some of the parts that I would like to. And they do sell that stuff. But the updates are extremely high. And I just choose not to. After probably 2019, I don't work on too many of the anything newer than that. Not saying I'm not going to, but at the moment I don't. All right, I'm going to tell y'all right here on these 5.3s, you've got your heater core lines that go in, and those things can get really brittle. So you really need to be careful when you're doing the plugs on this side, and there's a possibility that I could break these too, and I'd have to repair them. They sell a quick connect that you can put back in the place of those, or you can kind of do it what I call the easy way of just taking the hoses and shoving them up on the heater core lines that come out, which I feel like is probably honestly the better way. It may not be what technically they feel is the right way, but I've seen every time I've done that, I've never had another issue with them. Okay, this is being a tough one to get off, but I got it. We're good, I got it. All right, so let's get this number 2 out. This will be number 2. This will be the bank 2 side of the engine. This is really probably stuff I'm telling most of you guys that you already know. But like I said, there's fellas out there that just don't know yet, and they're wanting to know, they're wanting to learn, or maybe they're wanting to work on some projects for themselves, and let's help a fella out. You guys, you're more than welcome to comment, ask questions. I don't mind answering the questions. If it's something I don't know, I promise you, I'll get somebody that will know, and I'll get the information you need. Like I said, I don't know everything. I'm not the best at all of it. There's parts of these vehicles that still, as long as I've been doing it, still kind of confuse me, but you know, you can't know everything. That's just, it's part of anything you ever do. You strive every day to be the best you can, but you never learn it all. You never have a possibility to learn it all. It's just too much. Anybody that tells me they know it all, I'm generally pretty confident they know nothing. Like I said, these on this side are a little harder, especially the one right there in the back. The one in the very back is always the pain because you got your heat shield right there, right off the firewall, and it is a pain in the rear end to get out. But we will conquer together. All right. I really hope you guys like and subscribe to this channel. Like I said, there's going to be a lot more videos coming, and I hope to get a lot better at these videos. The more I learn about them, it's just like everything else, though. You got to start somewhere. We all got to start somewhere, and just when you think you got it figured out, something happens and you realize you didn't have it figured out at all. And I probably shot, I'm not kidding you guys when I tell you I've probably shot 40 videos since I started this YouTube stuff. And hopefully this is going to be the first one that actually makes it to being posted. The editing part of this is ridiculous. It's really hard. You try to do this stuff where you're not spending a lot of money on editing stuff. And I don't know, it's just me. I just refuse to spend money to edit all these videos. But what I'm trying to do is get good enough that I may can cut a couple spots that you guys don't care to see out and post as much of an unedited video as I can. And it's hard to do. I'm trying to figure things out. So if I fumble through my words a lot, you guys are just gonna have to understand that even if it sounds like I may not know what I'm talking about, it's me just trying to figure out how to communicate with y'all through the camera. It's not the easiest task I've ever done, by no means. And you take a poor and hungry old country boy from Connecticut County and you give him a camera, you're probably making a mistake. Probably not the best thing to do. Worst case scenario, you can't really embarrass me. I just hope not to embarrass my wife through all this stuff, my wife and my kids. As far as me, I care less about being embarrassed. It's not something that really, I guess, comes across my radar too much. We all have our moments, trust me. now we're pulling out number 4. If I can get that puppy off, there she comes. She was wanting to be stubborn, but I got her. Let's see if we can get all ratchet down in here and put her on it. Bust her loose. Guys, I tell you what, I'm really sweating. I'm dripping all over everything I'm doing here. I hope you guys can't see how bad I'm really sweating. I keep wiping my face on my sleeve and my rag. I don't know why I even bring a rag with me, because I always seem to use my shirt. So if I decide to get into some more of the editing stuff, I would really like for some of you guys to comment on maybe some things that y'all might use if y'all have a channel or if you do videos. It seems to be a lot easier. I've noticed you can make a shorts, I guess YouTube shorts, on just about any platform that's editing stuff. They seem to really be focused to those shorts because there's so many people out there that do them, but I really don't care anything about those shorts. I thought about using them for mainly just if I'm trying to promote something specific that I'm going to do, maybe like almost like a little commercial, a little shorts on maybe my next episode, what you're going to see, what we're going to get into, but as far as using those as making, I just don't see the real point in them. I may be completely wrong, but I guess it's for something to laugh at and something funny. Those shorts work pretty good. But 10, 20 seconds of video is just not. I don't see the real purpose in it. Of course, maybe my videos would be too long. They say anything over about 15 minutes, you lose your audience. But I think there's some truth to that, and then there's not. It all depends on the person, I think. I think some people, they watch these videos, and they just kind of like to see what everybody has going. Have to grab me a little set of pliers to pull those off back there in the back, because I can't really get my hands on them. Let's go over here. You have to ignore the mess I have on top of this little roll cart. I use this little roll cart for about everything I do, and I've actually been putting metal in the floor of a 49 Chevrolet I have over here that I bought about a year ago that kind of gets pushed to the side quite a bit. One, because I get so many other things. I get so many tractors and people's trucks and stuff that I gotta work on, and mine just kind of takes the back burner. And two, a fella's gotta recoup some money every now and then. You can't just keep spending and spending and not bring nothing in, so I have to stop and gather up a little more cash before I can work. And most all the stuff I do to that truck is all fab stuff. I try not to buy anything. All my body mounts and engine mounts and all that stuff I built right here in this garage, and you're going to see some of that. And I kind of want you guys to see the mistakes that I make too. Maybe it helps some of you not make the same mistakes. If you get into one of these kind of restoration, but kind of the cross with that and resto mods, it's not going to be 100% original, but it's also not going to be just a complete rat rod, should I say. I do like the rat rods, I really do, but at the same time, that's probably not something that I'll build on a truck that has such a great body. I'm not going to cut a truck that has a good bones to it up for something like a rat rod. I don't feel like that's doing the truck justice. Now, if it was a rust bucket and there wasn't much to save on it, maybe it had a couple of decent panels here and there, something I felt like I could make a little something out of, then hey, I would be all in for that. But this one's going to be something me and my wife can go cruise the coast on. It's not going to be anything radical. It'll have a little cam in it, a little bit of programming with the computer, just enough to sound good, feel good, have good power. But I'm not going to be out there drag racing this thing. It may go down the track a few times. Some of these cruise the coast events, but as far as out, I'm not doing that. Not saying I don't like the race cars, because I do. I enjoy race cars. I like them. It's just not something that I feel economically affordable for myself to build. At the moment, maybe some years down the road, but not right now. There she came, right there. All right. Got her snapped on. Get that snapped on the coil real good. righty, fellas, that's gonna conclude us with all this, with all these, this tune-up here. I think we're in really good shape now. I still got to do that water pump, but that's going to be on another episode. Like I said, I don't really have time today to do that. We're going to put some of these tools up, or I'm going to at least throw them on top of my toolbox over here. One of them anyway. I'll put all this stuff off camera so you guys don't have to watch it. Get this anise and put it up. Trying to finish up my coffee for the morning. It's kind of a late morning this morning. I had some things I had to get done before I came in here to shoot this video. All right. I think we got our width at this point, fellas. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this very first episode. There's going to be a ton more episodes. I hope you guys tune back in. I'm going to try to drop at least one a week. We're going to get better with the camera work. We're going to get better with everything that we can. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Have a great one.